version.
All right, so here we are again, Abhinav Gupta and Matt Lutz, the dynamic duo.
How y'all doing?
Nav, affectionately known as around these here parts of AppClover. So today we're going to talk about something that's kind of cool. That we're always looking for new marketing tips and new strategies to help indie developers and stuff like that accomplish getting development done, getting their apps exposure, all that good stuff. And you seem to always be top of the list when we're talking about new ideas and stuff. And this is no exception today. So I'm going to kind of lay a little bit of context out there for what we're doing and what we're going to talk about today. And then really this is your show, man. I'm going to let you just kind of take over and do your thing. First and foremost, everything we're talking about is about, it's in and around the game Armies of Real, which is your new game that you're in the midst of developing / launching.
Right. Yeah. It's in development still, yeah.
Yeah. So I guess it's a first step. Instead of me trying to explain this game, because it probably makes more sense coming from the developer himself. So spend a couple minutes just kind of letting people know about the game.
Well, okay, thank you. Firstly, thanks, Matt. Basically, Armies of Real, it's like a trading card game style, battle fantasy type of game. I'm really trying to make it like, hopefully maybe one day into something like a Hearthstone style, but that's like really, really shooting for the stars there. I mean, it's very indie right now, but it's there to be a fun little card game with dice, and you roll dice and you can attack and battle other cards and stuff. And your ultimate goal is to destroy your opponent's crystal shard. I mean, that's the ultimate goal of every single battle and the entire game.
The ultimate goal of life, Nav. That's the ultimate goal of life.
Yeah. Definitely, yeah, man. The ultimate goal of life: destroy the crystal shards. But yeah, that's the concept of the game. It's a lot of fun. It's got a physical component that we're using to help in the marketing as well. And the whole overall idea is to get players in there, and we're looking at the market of those who love going to those like Comic-Con style events, and we find a lot of our user base is going to be there for this specific game. And we're looking to bring it to iOS, Android, Windows Phone, Windows Store, that sort of thing. And so we are actually looking at different and new, unique ways to start marketing. And one of the places that we started using this technique...
Hold on, wait. I want to stop you there before we give away anything.
Okay, I'll hold it.
I just want a little bit more about the game, just because usually we always have a chance to play with games and stuff like that before we talk or whatever. And I have a couple more questions. Now, you have, obviously, a physical component of the game, which you just mentioned.
Yes.
Is that something that operates in tandem, or is it separate? You can do either one on your own time, like just so I understand 100%.
You could play either one on your own time. The idea is that players who, if you've ever heard of the game Magic the Gathering or Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Pokemon, I mean, that's just an idea. I mean, our game is nowhere near what those card games have become. But if you're trying to, like, if you've never heard of this sort of stuff, that's the sort of concept where you're playing with cards, but it's not like a regular deck of cards, right? These cards, they've got different things that you could do. For example, they've got attack powers and defense powers, and you roll dice to actually indicate those things. And so you can, like I said, you can play the physical game on your own, or you can play the mobile game separately. But when you actually play them, what will end up happening is as we bring out new expansions in the mobile game, we're also going to try and release the card versions as well. And so it kind of becomes kind of like a fun little, kind of like a merchandising sort of opportunity there. Kind of like what Angry Birds does with their sort of stuff. And if you've ever gone to the stores, you've actually seen the little Angry Birds toys, which you can actually play and pull back and, do that sort of thing.
Angry Birds, everything, yeah. They got merchandising down. They do indeed. All right, cool.
But ours is more elaborate, but I mean, that's the whole concept, yeah.
Cool. Awesome. All right. So I guess now I'm going to throw it back to you, and you were just about to, and then I rudely interrupted you.
Yeah, I was about to tell you how
you were like all wound up and stuff, and then I was like, wait. Oh. All right, go ahead, man. I'm taking your leash off. Go nuts.
All right, sounds good. So, what we're doing with this game is we're going to be using, well, we've started using Kickstarter as a way to really market this game and get a whole bunch of pre-launch buzz going on. And the neat thing about Kickstarter is it's great for promotion. And, a lot of sites start buzzing about your, whatever you're about to launch, especially if you do it on Kickstarter. And then you'll start seeing, people blogging about your campaign or talking about your campaign. And especially if it gets funded, then there's a whole bunch of more, articles and sites that all say, oh, this project was successfully funded and stuff. So it's really cool.
Yeah, it just becomes a little bit of a tidal wave. So I guess to that point, maybe now I'm someone that has never done a Kickstarter campaign. I know a few people who have. I've read a few articles. I don't know enough to be dangerous yet. But I love to learn from other people's experiences and other people's. I like to let other people, hit those hurdles before me, so I can just kind of shortcut my learning curve. So that being said, let's talk about some of the things to avoid, and then some of the things that you should do, like whatever order you want to do.
Well, you know what? This was my very first time using Kickstarter, and I went through a lot of learning. And you know what? There were some surprises along the way. For example, for starters, I mean, the first thing I learned was you can't change the price after you launch.
Oh, you can't.
So, no, you can't. So, make sure that you choose a price that's low. It's something that you can guaranteed hit, because it's easier to hit something and then get some more versus not hitting it, because one of the things that Kickstarter focuses on compared to other crowdfunding sites like Indiegogo is Kickstarter is an all or nothing site. So it's not like Indiegogo where you can have like let's say someone bids up to half of your budget or whatever you propose, and you'll get that. No, literally, if you don't hit your target number, you don't get it. So it's an all or nothing campaign. So make sure your prices are low, your budgets are low, and don't overshoot and say, oh, you know what, I'm hoping that this will come. And that was the first surprise that I had.
So
the other one,
before I'm going to jump in on that a couple, just because again I read a couple articles. This is all secondhand information, but might be relevant to share here. Is people might be wondering, well, why didn't you do Indiegogo versus Kickstarter and stuff like that? Now, there's pros and cons to each. You've basically talked about one.
Well, I've already tried Indiegogo in the past, so this is my first attempt at Kickstarter. And one of the things that I've noticed with Kickstarter, and I'm sure there's some stats out there, but I noticed this personally, is that there is a lot more traffic to Kickstarter.
That was what I was going to talk about, because I read that too. And so, yes, it is all or nothing.
I'm just telling you my personal viewpoint. That's what I've seen.
Yeah.
There may be stats to back it or not. They can fight back and forth about, but from what I've seen personally, this is my own opinion.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot more traffic on Kickstarter than I did on Indiegogo.
Yeah, that's cool. And that confirms what I read too. So that's cool to know that personal experience is backing that up. And then I think I had another point, but I can't for now. It's slipping my head right now, so I'll let you go.
Okay, thanks. But okay. So the second surprise was the U.S. Kickstarters. So anyone who's in the States, they are either forced or they're required to use Amazon payments, whereas international Kickstarter creators can use credit cards directly. So when one of my backers comes onto my Canadian Kickstarter page, so even though they go all through Kickstarter.com, because I'm in Canada or I'm in one of their international supported sites, my backers can actually enter their credit cards directly and stuff like that, versus being forced to only Amazon with the U.S. And not to say that that's a bad thing, but just the fact that it gives you that extra option if you wanted to, because. And that brings me to my next surprise is there's so many people who still don't understand what Kickstarter is. So, I mean, so many people, if you try and tell them, like, hey, would you like to back me on Kickstarter? They'd be like, what is Kickstarter? So, I mean, even though we know what it is, it's kind of like to the general public still, there's a lot of people who don't know what it is. And so you have to kind of get them in there. And one of the words that I started using a lot was the word pledge, because people understand what a pledge is. Like, like I'm running a marathon, it's like the pledge, and, be a part of that, versus saying backer, because firstly, if they've never heard of Kickstarter, they don't understand what that is. And I have to go and explain that it's an all or nothing campaign. And that's something nice that you can do in the video as well. But that was a surprise that I saw, was a lot of people just didn't understand the concept of Kickstarter. So that was surprise number 3.
Yeah, interesting. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's funny because in today's main place, you think of a lot of like there's so many people doing crowdfunding and stuff, and it's been a buzzword for a couple of years now. I'm kind of surprised by that, but I guess it is still in an infancy.
The irony is many of the times, like those who are tech savvy, who are always in, I would say the early adopters, the people who are always checking the sites out and stuff, they know about Kickstarter, but there are still so many who don't. And so that's why I had to explain it to a lot of people. And a lot of times, my friends or my family or people around me, those are actually the best places to go to first to get pledges. And when you try and explain it to them, they may be in completely different industries. Right? So that's the challenge. They don't understand what Kickstarter is. The next thing was PayPal is not supported. So what I did, and what I've seen several others do, is you make an external PayPal page. Right, so what I could do is I'll actually show it to you guys in a little bit what the page looks like. But I've made an external PayPal page that you can actually go to. And another massive surprise was when the campaign ends. I found this out after reading heavily on this. You can't update the main page. So you have to make sure that whatever marketing, whatever information you want on there, it's at the very top, at the end, or whatever you want at the very top, because it's going to be there for the rest of eternity, and it's Google searchable. So you want to make sure that you have, your website, any interesting information or notes, maybe a place where people can go to afterwards, right at the very top, especially when you're near the end of the campaign, because the second that campaign ends, you can't touch the main page.
Yeah, interesting. That's really good to know, because. Yeah, do all your editing offline before you throw it in there. That's good.
Yeah, exactly. So you want to have that pre-prep for sure.
Can you give updates along the way?
Yeah, updates can go on forever, for as long as you want. So that's the neat thing. But updates are to backers. So the person had to be a backer, from what I...
Okay. So really the only update they're going to see is what the pledge amount is, what number you're at now, and your accomplishments as far as revenue generation go.
Right. I know there's public updates as well. That will also go on the project page. If anybody is subscribing, they can probably follow that along.
Okay.
But as for the main page, you just can't change it.
Interesting. I remember the other point that I was going to make now, so I'm going to circle back around. You were talking about keeping your price low as a strategy to make sure, like if you're going to do Kickstarter, I mean, if you're going to do Indiegogo, I guess it doesn't matter. But if you're going to do Kickstarter, so that you make sure you hit that minimum, and then it can go on. We talked about this, I don't know, a few days ago, was the mac and cheese one, the guy that was looking to make the perfect recipe. Or I can't even remember the context, but it was like he wanted to raise a few bucks or whatever it was to buy mac and cheese. Something humorous.
He wanted to either buy mac and cheese or he wanted to make mac and cheese, and then he ended up generating $60,000 for that.
Yeah, it was insane.
And that was funny. I mean, some Kickstarters are just like, fun like that, and you'll get the unusual ones here and there, but in general, especially when you're trying to do something related to mobile apps and mobile games, I'd recommend using Kickstarter more as a promotional platform rather than I'm here to fund my project type of platform, because it is a big challenge to try and fund and get funding, because a lot of people may not understand your game or understand your niche or your app, and so that's why if you keep it as a low budget and you use it more for promotion, showing off your game, getting people who are backing it, and updating your game so they get to see your entire progress, which is cool, and then give them a chance to be a part of it and really make them feel like they were owning the game at the end of the day. you'll get more people and more buzz. I mean, that's the overall way that I look at it, is to generate some good pre-launch buzz, and then after that, use that to get, brand new users into the game before it even hits off.
Well, and I think that's important too. So we're proponents of this, is building loyalty ahead of time and building as much of a runway for your launch as possible. And this sort of thing, especially as you're able to do updates and all that stuff, people are going to get excited. They're going to be kept abreast of everything.
Oh, and the feedback too. You get a lot of feedback from users, and they'll tell you, oh, you know what, I thought this idea would be cool. Maybe you want to put that inside of your app or game, and or even just some tips and advice. And the cool thing is, it's instantly searchable on Google. Like, everything is just instantly searched on Google, ready to go. So the SEO is incredible on how fast it goes up.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, man. Hit us with some more. What else?
All right. So these are my 7 tips if you're going to try Kickstarter. Just to close off everything, and then I'll just show you guys the page, and I'll answer any final questions, and we're good. Sound good?
All right. I like it.
All right. So the 7 tips that I got if you're going to start Kickstarter. Number 1, plan in advance. All right. Number 2, create a beautiful product. Even if your product's a virtual product, Kickstarter has kind of become like a shopping experience for many users, right? So people like to see something that they think that they can physically touch, right? So try and create a beautiful product. Number 3, ignore the spam. The second you put up a Kickstarter campaign, you're going to get a whole bunch of emails from all of these campaign companies or promotional marketing companies asking you for money to promote. Don't do it. A lot of it is a waste of time and money for you. There's so many people who say, oh, I'll tweet your campaign, or I'll get you more backers to your campaign. You know what? Just do your research and due diligence. A lot of times, the only people making money are those guys who are taking the money from you. So just be careful with a lot of them, because that's all they live to do. And just remember this tip, which I actually got after reading online and from others who've done this as well. Is you're not the only campaign that they're marketing. You know what I mean? So if you think that you're going to get a whole bunch of backers or people coming to your campaign, you're not the only one. They've probably got another 20, 30 people who they're sending traffic to. So just be careful about that. Number 4, make a video. 100% make a video. You get more views for sure. Number 5, check your dashboard and KickTrack. That's KickTrack.com. KickTrack.com. Check them out all the time. They'll give you some good analytics and data as to, for example, how many users came to your campaign site, how many users clicked the play button and watched your video, how many people are pledging and what's the most popular pledge, that sort of idea. Number 6, like I said before, don't post too high a budget. Especially if you think you won't hit it, right? It's better to, start with a lower budget and then beat that out. And then after that, create now, let's say, if you're going to create, let's say, several updates to your game, then start off with, the first update. Let's say it's like $500 to $1,000. Okay. Then after that, you get a whole user base, and now you're planning to create update number 2, start a brand new Kickstarter campaign for update number 2, and now you've already got a user base that can actually come to this new Kickstarter page because they're already playing your game, right? And so that's kind of how you would do it progressively, one after another sort of thing. And tip number 7, this is really cool. I couldn't believe it actually worked. Use keywords and SEO inside of your title. So simple terms, like if you go to Kickstarter.com, and Matt, you've got just open up a separate browser and tell me if this works. If you go to Kickstarter.com and type in the keyword iOS, tell me where you see Armies of Real show up.
iOS, you said?
Just type in iOS.
Yeah, you're right in the top line, the number 4, I guess, position 4.
There you go. I'm in the 4th position. So it's all about keywords and SEO, but people aren't gaming it. They don't know about that yet. So I'm telling you guys that. Put that into your titles, right?
That's crazy,
whatever specific keywords you got, put them inside of there. And so when people are searching for projects and they're going to type in the words, for example, mobile, iOS, Android, put those inside of your title and they'll actually get searched, which is so cool. So I've been using that and it's been cool.
You saved tip number 7, the best for last right there. Nice.
There you go. Best for last. So yeah, those are my 7 little tips and tricks, and use them and hopefully they'll help you guys out, especially if you're starting out brand new like I have. This might save you some time.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And while we've been talking, I already went ahead and pledged, just so you know. So pretty fresh. You're going to see a pledge from me. And actually, too, what I would say is, you're just kicking things off right now, so I would invite our community to check this out. Because number one, you don't have to pledge. You can just pledge whatever you want, right? But I would just to follow along, if a Kickstarter campaign might make sense for you as far as developing something in the future, even if it's not app related, even if it's just something else, but you're interested in the Kickstarter campaign and the process, I can guarantee you, following along with Nav, you're going to learn a few things. So, but I highly suggest you support the game too. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying for that aspect alone, I would suggest anyone checking it out. And it's really easy. Just go to you don't even have to. You can do it 2 ways. You can go to Kickstarter and then type in iOS and you'll find Armies of Riddle, or just go to armiesofriddle.com and that'll redirect you directly to his Kickstarter campaign. So it's couldn't be easier to find. And also right below this video, we'll paste the link as well. So anyone that's watching this, we just wanted to bring you a really cool 7 tips on what to do and look out for, as well as what to implement on Kickstarter. And Nav, as always, man, thank you, and we just want to support you, and I hope hopefully our community supports you and helps you hit your goal and well and above your goal.
Absolutely, thank you so much, and I hope I was able to give back to the community as well.
As always. All right. Cool.
Take care. God bless, guys. Thank you.
All right.